world.
There we go.
All right. I think we got going. Let me just, I think it's waiting just a moment to go live on Facebook. So, hey, everybody, it is Nicole, and this is our weekly Stay Wild Child Live. It happens every single Monday at noon Central Standard Time, and I'm making sure we're live in the group. I'm pretty positive we are, but I have a special guest this week. My friend Rashmi Malhotra. We have been friends for about a decade now. I like decade versus years, so we've been friends about a decade now, and we have had a lot of really special, really amazing times together. And she is someone who, it's interesting, I'll let Rashmi say hi in just a moment, but I remember the first time that Rashmi came over to my house and she said, "Oh, you live at the lake. This is so beautiful. Do you meditate?" And I thought to myself, I don't. And I kind of like, I don't totally know exactly what that means. Like, I knew it was about, it related to prayer, and I knew it was about quieting your mind. But at that point in my life, I thought, there's no way. But little did she know that she planted the seed that has expanded into a beautiful awakening for me, and a beautiful ability for me to silence my mind and turn to meditation, which has really shifted and impacted my life. So thank you for that, Rashmi.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. When you and I talked about my doing this, I was so excited because you are a very special friend. And I know we call ourselves Virgo sisters, but you are one of my very favorite soul sisters. And I think it's because the journeys we've had together, and I say journeys because we have touched on many things in our lives, starting with our passion for shoes, and then our love for shoes. Let's just say our love for shoes, and our love for health, and many, many, many different things that has led us to where we are today. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to turn this.
It happens. Somebody always wants to call right when you go live.
No, I know, and actually I am going to try to turn my phone off. Otherwise, it's just going to keep ringing. But anyways, I apologize for that. And I do think that in many ways, you and I connected over our passion.
We did.
For different things, and our love and our purpose for many things in the world that we wanted to create. And I'm really excited about this new journey that I'm on, which is to uncork not only my passion and continue to uncork my passion, but also to help others get on a journey. When you think about the times that we're in right now,
yeah.
Reflection and looking inward is so important. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really focusing on this aspect as I continue on my personal journey of continuing to uncork my passion. You and I kind of talked about some of the things that I wanted to share today. I was born in India.
Good. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, take us back to where you were before. So this, this podcast, this episode of Stay Wild Child, this live, this YouTube, what it's all about is truly helping women remember who they are before the world told them who they were supposed to be. We get stuck in a lot of stories and belief systems, and sometimes it gets a little cloudy and it's hard to remember. I think you get so busy that, right, you forget to think about what's important to me. Who am I? Right? And so I love always, because people can look at you, me, other guests that I've had on the show and say, oh yeah, she's had, well, of course she's doing that, right? But where were you before? Yeah. So tell us just a little bit of a background here.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I was born in India, and I was 9 years old when our parents brought us, my brother and myself, to Canada. So I always say that my birth country is India, but my home country where I grew up is Canada. You know, that's really, that formed me, you know, especially during those formative years, you know, let's just put it that way. But my adopted country is the United States. I moved here about 25 years ago. I was just here for a few years, and then I was going to move on with the company that brought me to Europe, you know, because that's really where I felt my heart was in Europe, you know, primarily my love for Italy. However, you know, 25 years later, I am here and I love my adopted country. And the reason why I love my adopted country is because this is really where I became who I am.
Yeah.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about, you know, my family. I grew up in an Indian family, and not very traditional, because my parents wanted us to really learn what it would be like to live in the country that we were, you know, our adopted country, our Canada, which is really where they brought us to help us grow. And you know, they had dreams for us. They, you know, their dream for me was to become a doctor. You know, surprise, surprise, an Indian parent wanting their child to be a doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
For many reasons, that didn't happen. Even though that was something I wanted to do, I wanted to work with children. It didn't happen. And then, you know, the next best thing was I went into technology and, you know, did my education and started my career in software engineering. So the reason why I kind of delve into this a little bit is because this has all helped me be who I am today.
Sure.
You know, I worked for a telecom company. I really learned I started as a software engineer, and then I grew in the company, progressed to marketing, and, you know, learned a lot there as well. So I realized that there were many things in life that I loved. I loved progressing in the corporate world. I was very proud of myself. You know, we broke some glass ceilings, being a visible minority and a female at that.
Right.
And again, you know, pride and maybe ego, I hate to say that, was
Right.
the forefront of all of that. You know, especially also when I became head of marketing for a company out of Israel. And again, you know, all of that made me also realize that, and this is again, you know, I say this to everyone, is look at where you are and look at all aspects of your life, because what was missing in my life was joy and happiness. You know, yes, I was very proud of myself. My family was very proud of me. You know, they all felt that I was missing a lot in life that could lead to joy and happiness. So you really start thinking to yourself, you know, what is joy and happiness? You know, I'm living this fabulous life. I'm living a lifestyle that very few people get to live. I'm traveled all over the world. I've enjoyed experiences, you know, that many would not. You know, I did so many different things in my life, including being part of this amazing campaign that used the Beatles' music, Come Together. And through that, I experienced so many things that, you know, even now, sometimes I say to myself, wow, you know, it's like deja vu. But I realized that what was really missing was joy and happiness. You, and I know that you've heard this before, Nicole, and that is, you know, when you tap into your passion or you step into your passion, everything happens, everything follows. Well,
Right.
what does that mean?
Right.
You know,
Right.
um, what, you know, it's a lot easier said than done, because how do you find what your passion is? And to me, passion is not only, you know, I think I have the meaning for passion. It's a strong and barely controllable emotion. It's talking about, something I didn't know until I actually looked it up, the suffering and death of Jesus. You know,
Oh, right.
and then it's also what I believe passion is really to embrace your possibility,
Mm,
to step into what is your path. It's like for you, I think about your purpose. Passion is your purpose. It's what you were meant to do. It's, getting to that higher level of self.
right.
And but it's a lot easier said than done.
Sure is.
And when I started thinking about what was my passion and what was my dream, it truly took me time, but I started realizing it was gifting myself with some of the best experiences in life. And
Mm,
for me, that always stems from, a lifestyle that is, this fabulous lifestyle, which is wine and food and glamour and experiencing things to heights that, traveling all over the world and experiencing things. So I started thinking to myself, well, if that is truly my passion, what does that mean? And I started focusing on that a little bit. I still didn't know, what I wanted to do, or what experiences I wanted to create and share, and how did I want to bring that to the world. But I thought, why don't I start with myself? What is it that I'm looking to create for myself?
right.
And it was a journey of what I say a lifetime, because those years were really spent about exploring myself, looking into my early life, looking into the opportunities and possibilities that were in front of me. And one of those was in 2014, came to me through a very good friend of mine who introduced or tried to introduce me to Boisset Collection of wineries. And I know,
Right.
you're smiling because you've heard this story many
I
times.
have. I love the story.
And I love this story too, because there's a lot of learnings in this story. So when my
Right.
friend, told me about it, and she said, we're going to be doing some work for this company, and it's called Boisset Collection, and I want you to really get involved because they're looking to build Texas. And I think, you would be perfect to help them do this. And I'm like, oh no, 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 not at all. I said, I love good wines. I love fine wines. I'm not getting involved. I've been asked by other companies. I'm not this type of person that brings these wines to home tastings. This is not for me. And she said to me, she said, just try the wines. I said,
Yeah.
no, 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 not at all. 9 months later, she had a Beauty and Bubbles party. And I went because I was one of her clients. And I, got a glass, and it had the rosé sparkling in it. And I looked at it and I thought to myself, oh no, I'm really not a rosé girl, and so this is not going to be, up to my expectations.
Sure.
Expectations rule in many aspects of our life. I took one sip, and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I looked around the room, and Cindy was watching me, and I said, is this? And she said, yes. And then I'm like, I'm in. You know, I resisted for so long, and so when somebody says to me, no, or I'm not, this is not something I'm interested in, or no, I don't want to explore anything, I always think to myself, there's a, I've learned the lesson. There could be a lesson in this for everybody. And so I always say that they had me at the 69 because that was the JCB 69, the rosé bubbles, Pinot Noir bubbles that are from Burgundy, France. And I know it's one of your favorites, Nicole.
My favorite. Mm-hmm.
And it denotes the year that Jean Charles was born. And
Right.
so, so I love that, and I loved exploring about the company. I love the facet that the company was in. It was a Franco-American company. The heritage was from Burgundy, France, which is kind of the epicenter of wine.
Right.
And they brought this to California, and they were creating this program for wine lovers and people that love wine experiences. But it started also feeding my need to get more involved and stepping into my passion. And by that, what I mean is, while I love the wine lifestyle, I love drinking out of Baccarat glasses. While I'm
Yeah.
drinking water,
Amazing.
pardon me?
Those glasses are amazing. I got to drink out of one in person last year. So yes.
Yeah. So, again, and it's about the lifestyle. It's about the experiences. But
Sure.
what I also loved was that I was able to share this with people. I
Right.
was able to share this, and I was able to help others uncork their passion and
Right.
create, this revenue stream that could be, for myself, it's reinvestment in buying more wine, it's reinvestment in traveling, it's reinvestment in creating these experiences, buying Baccarat glasses, and doing all these fun things. But I was also able to help others tap into something that they may love.
Absolutely.
And now 6 years later, our team is at the top of the food chain, so to speak. And what it brings me is a lot of energy and joy and happiness. And so, I'm excited about what it's done for me. I'm excited about what it's helping me achieve for others. But I'm also very excited about what it taught me to help people kind of uncork their passion, be it in what we're doing, or be it in there's so many different things out there in life. It's just finding what it is that makes you, and helping you get there. So I'm going to stop here for a few minutes and let you ask me some questions.
Yeah. So, it absolutely, that's exactly what it is, Rashmi, because, I feel like I had exactly a similar story. And, I think because you and I had been in a situation where we feel like maybe a little burned in the direct sales industry, that we had stay away, kind of mentality towards it. And so it's hard once you go through something that you feel like, right, it's this belief system that we have. Okay, so we stepped into something, it didn't work out. We looked at it maybe as a failure in our eyes. And really, if you can take that, that belief system away from it, it was such a beautiful growing experience. And, we met each other through a perceived failure, along with a tremendous amount of other amazing women that have so enriched my life. And so in our lives, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I had the same similar situation, mine's in a health and wellness company, but I had the same thing. I absolutely wasn't interested in it. And she said, well, you just trust me and try it. And I'm like, okay. Right. And so it's, we have to figure out kind of like, what is that story we're telling ourselves that's holding us back?
Yes.
Yeah. And how do you think that you found, was it simply a love of the product? Was it, did you achieve that by, spending some time alone in meditation? Did you find it through journaling? What was your method?
Yes,
To get
so I do want to, yes, and I do want to take people through what I call the process for uncorking your passion, because when as you're sharing your story, and Nicole, I'm going to have a few questions for you in a few minutes, but
Oh, okay.
yes. I think the thing, you're right. It's the stories we tell ourselves. So, the story I had told myself is, oh, yes, I love fine wines. I love the finer things in life. You know, I'm truly a brand girl. This is not going to fulfill me. And this is
Mm,
just going to be another one of those experiments that I step into that I'm going to at the end have regrets.
right.
Well, you know, so when, again, you know, there many people tell you that, um, you know, nothing is ever a no because, you know, you think you may have shut the door or you may have shut the window or you may have, you know, if you do it gently, there's always that possibility of you of going back. Now, I didn't think I did it gently. I think I slammed it shut because it was my belief system that told me no, 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 no. Don't even consider it. And then because once you step into it, what are you going to tell people? Well,
Right.
at the end of the day, who cares? You
Cares.
know,
The
you just
judgment, right? It's the judgment that you think that people will perceive about you when chances are they're not even thinking anything.
and frankly, if they are, they're putting their judgment on you. And how important is that? At the end
Not.
of the day, it's really not. I think it's important for your own self judgment. How are you? What are you thinking of yourself?
Yes.
And then I think you need to give yourself grace and permission to love and explore the opportunities. Life has changed. I mean, for goodness, we've been home now for almost 2 months, you
Right.
know, locked out. And I love that picture of you and your mom yesterday. And I was thinking, I can just imagine the joy that Nicole was feeling and her mom was feeling to see each other after such a long time. So, you know, so we get caught up in our own stories. But, you know, like when people ask me sometimes, like a lot of people ask me, what makes you so happy? I say, I get to drink and share wine all day long, you know. What about that is not going to make me happy? Now, you know, I've got other things going on in my life, but you know, I'm doing this for a living, and it's it's really really fun. So, can I just kind of start exploring some questions that I think are going to lead us into a really interesting conversation?
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm all yours.
Okay,
Rock me, take the wheel.
yes, yes. So I had mentioned, I'm going to repeat this, but you know, the meaning of passion, according to Webster, is to have a strong and barely controllable emotion. You know, it's that emotion of joy and happiness as you step into your passion or your step into your purpose, your mission, whatever you define that to be. You know, it's that excitement that comes. Now, I view, you know, the second meaning, the suffering and death of Jesus, the way that I view that is that nothing in life is going to come easy, especially nothing that you're going to value. So you have to put the work into it. You have to put your whole heart, your whole body and soul, just like he did, to what he knew was going to be a better world for everyone. So he sacrificed himself for
Yeah.
everyone. So that's how I interpret that, you
Yes.
know.
Mhm.
And what that really leads me is that at the end of the day, what I believe, and again, it comes back to the belief system, is that everyone needs to embrace their possibility. And that possibility is not always as clear as we think it's going to be.
Right.
So let's talk about the journeys that people take to get to the possibility. You know, I always think, you know, people that find it early in life, they're very blessed. But you know what? I have now decided it's whenever you find it, you're blessed.
Right.
So,
Perfect
so
timing, right?
yes, exactly. You know, so So let's talk a little bit about this. Did you know that we're in a passion economy right now, Nicole?
I did not. No.
Yeah, so we are in a passion economy. And, while this is very clearly articulated about how things are happening in the world through technology and all the different facets of it, the way that I view it and the way that I think a lot of people that are stepping into their passion is that they don't work or labor a day in their life. It is just part of them being. This is
Yes.
just part of who you are. It
Right.
is what you're experiencing. It's not even what you're doing, it's what you're experiencing every day that is part of your purpose, your passion, your mission in life.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, and I'll talk a little bit about how I uncork my passion.
Okay.
And I know you're going to agree with me on this one. The reality is that passion lives in your heart and not in your head.
Oh, 100%. And you have to get to that heart space too. And sometimes that heart space takes a little opening, right? You have to practice at opening that heart space. I didn't realize that mine was so guarded for so long. So it took a long time it didn't take a long time. It was in the becoming of, right? So you can go in and judge how long I felt like it took, but right, it was all just allowing my heart to open more and more. So, right. I totally agree. You got to get out of your head and into your heart.
You have to, because you cannot think your passion. There's too much that comes from the left brain, right brain, all, there's no clarity. Now, I know you're also going to agree with me on this statement, and we'll come back into delving into these a little bit more. Passion needs to be cultivated. It
Yeah.
needs that sunshine. It needs that pouring of water, in my case, the pouring of wine. But,
Yes.
it needs that continuous love and gardening, whatever you want to call it, but it needs to be cultivated. I put the statement here and I want to read this. It needs the fuel of joy and happiness, positive energy, and we also want to talk about it needs daily action. So it's
Absolutely.
not something that'll, come to you and then it's there. It's going to need cultivation. It's how we garden, how we grow our flowers, how we enjoy and love them, and how we continue to grow them and see our trees grow, our vines grow, our bushes grow. So it takes all of that.
I use that
Um,
I use that hashtag all the time. Hashtag we are all just practicing together, right? Because
yeah,
it's stepping into that daily practice that allows that heart expansion. You have to tend to the weeds and pull them out, right? And
yes,
allow the flowers to bloom. And it's just like planting a seed. You have to take care of that seed. You can't overwater it. You have, because I'm in the process of gardening right now, right? It's my first time to have a full garden. So I'm totally aware that you can overwater a seed, you can underwater a seed. Weeds are popping up everywhere. I have to go out there and take care of them. I have to fertilize it, and I have to tend to my garden every single day, or it'll be out of control. It's not gonna be healthy. And so, yeah, I'm totally with you on that.
yes, yes, yes. And when you're cultivating your passion, you really need that joy and happiness and the positive energy.
Yes.
And we can also learn. I mean, it's not to say that things aren't going to happen in our lives as we're cultivating our passion that are not going to be challenges. I don't like the word negative, but challenges. But you
Are.
know what? It's when you start bringing that joy and happiness to those challenges that things shift. So that is going to be very important. So the results are joy. This is the third statement I make. Results are joy, happiness, and energy. I mean, that's one aspect. It can also be financial rewards, but cannot be the goal. That cannot be, it cannot be the return that we're looking for in cultivating our passion, or cultivating our mission and our purpose in life. But it can be a result. It can be one of those results, and I like to put it as a secondary result, because it does follow.
Yeah.
It does follow. People do want to know, and they do want to support you. In my case, that's not why I do the things I do. It's about bringing the passion and joy in other people's lives, to help them. That's the result that I want. That's what fuels me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think, I give this example. Somebody that loves dancing, and that's what their passion is. When they step into dancing, that dancing is bringing them joy and happiness. They may never, ever turn that into a financial reward, but the rewards that they're getting are things that can help fuel other aspects of their life.
Yes.
That can help grow other aspects of their life, which, because we all need those financial rewards. We need, whether it's a paycheck or whatever it is, we need the money to keep our life going, our daily life for ourselves and our family going. But how do you fuel that? You can fuel that. And I keep using the word fuel because while it's not one of my favorite words, it's an energy word for me.
It is.
It's
Right.
something that I think
Mm-hmm.
it brings energy to me.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just share a few things about the steps that I took and the steps that I think people can take. And then we're going to get into a little Q&A. And if people have any questions that they want to share, can they put them in the chat?
I should be able to. Yes. Yes.
I'm just, okay, cool. All right. Okay. So first thing I say is I need everybody to get a passion journal. Not a journal that you're going to write. You have your gratitude journal. You have a journal that you journal, your life journal. But I need everybody to have a passion journal.
Okay.
So this is what you're going to be writing in every day. So let's talk about what you're going to be doing. You're going to be creating a ritual. And I have some things that I can share. I can post it on our page.
Okay, great.
So you're going to be creating a ritual. Now I'll share with you what my ritual is.
Okay.
I love nighttime before I go to bed. That is one of my favorite times of the day. I love mornings because it's a new day, but nighttime is when I love to think so that I can create a space for my dreams. Dreaming is, to me, the key of everything.
Yeah.
So when you dream, your dreams equal your passion. Your dream equals passions, which then equals dreams, because it's a circle or it's cyclical. It's like you're continuous to feed. Dream equals passion equals dreams, and then back again. And I prefer to do this at nighttime because I love my imagination to take full gear, full momentum. I grab a glass of my favorite drink. At night, it's not water. It's a little bit of wine.
Okay.
I put on my favorite music. Sometimes it's Michael Bublé, sometimes it's Frank Sinatra, but it's, Ella Fitzgerald, but it's my favorite music. And I close my eyes, and when I open up my journal, the first word that's written there is passion. At the very top of your journal, you need to write the word passion
Right.
every day. Every day.
Okay.
Put the word passion. And then as you are sipping your wine or sipping your drink, it could be your glass of warm milk, whatever you love to drink,
Yep.
and listen to the music, just start writing down whatever comes to top to mind.
Mm.
Whatever it is. It can be something you're challenged about. It can be, I love to just think about some dreams. For me, it was always the experience, the travel. When I was in Tuscany, what would that experience mean to me? When I was in a restaurant that I was traveling somewhere, and I asked the concierge to find me the greatest restaurant that he'd recommend, and asked the somm and the chef to create an experience for me. What did that make me feel? What did I journal when I wrote about those experiences? So, and I did that every city I went to, and each experience was an experience of a lifetime. So when I started writing things down, the stuff that comes out is so amazing.
So you're life visioning then, Rashmi, right?
You are. It is. It is about visioning. It is about creation. It
Yes.
is, yes, yes. You
You've
know,
created the space, you've set the elements, you have the tone, it brings you into that, um, it brings you there. It's almost like time travel. And then it allows you to, when you're falling asleep, it allows that expansion to continue. You're stepping into the abundance that you're looking to create, which you have.
absolutely. And you know what? That is so, I love that word abundance.
Yes.
And thank you. Because when I wake up in the morning, because you brought us into this miracle morning.
Right.
And so when I wake up in the morning, you know, I do give myself the latitude to just lie in bed, dream about all the abundance, continue the dreaming, the imagination, the visioning. And then many times I jot down a few words that'll always be a reminder for me what that morning and what that nighttime meant for me, and what
Sure.
that morning is going to create. Because we all have our days. We have to live our life. But sometimes it's just fun to go back and just think about it, and just be in that space. That is, to me, how you come and become heart-centered.
Yes.
Because your mind can always take you on a journey. We're Virgos. You and I are Virgos. We're not constantly driven by our heart. We're driven by our head. So
Yeah.
sometimes we need the tools to come back to our heart.
Right. We do.
So
I
that's
think a
that
lot
word.
of people do. Mm-hmm.
That's that word abundance.
Yeah.
So I write down everything that comes into my head.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to come to a few questions that I want to ask. Okay,
I'm ready.
I'm going to come back to you in a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so when you're looking to write down what's your passion all about, there are a few things that I want you to think about. Yes, I do want you to bring your mind into it, but connect it with your heart. Ask yourself, what gives you joy? What puts a smile on your face? What lights you up? What do you like to read, listen, and watch? There's a journey of the senses. Charles has written a book on the alchemy of the senses.
I have that book.
I know you do. And until I started reading that book, I did not know about connecting all the dots
Right. Yeah.
of the five senses. And then, I've added a sixth, which is the heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you love to talk about? What do you love to teach others? What were your dreams before life happened? What did your younger self dream about? Did you write letters? Love letters to yourself? Or in a journal? Go back to that. My friend Krista shared this story with us when we were having our talk about passion. And she shared the story that she found in her 30s a love letter at the age of 13 she'd written, probably to herself. But, you know, at the age of 13, you know, if like she said, you know, she's sentimental, and so she kept things like that. You don't necessarily keep it for your older self. And this is what she shared. For her, it was an awakening. Everything she had written was a woman she has become and desires to be. So that love letter was something that she had written to herself. And now she is on that journey of making it happen.
What a gift.
So there are no, what's the word? I think there's, you know, I believe that there's a destiny. Everything has a place. So it was the time for her to read that about herself and what she desired to be at the age of 13 in her 30s.
Right.
You know, so everything was meant to happen, and that's what happened with her.
Right.
So, you know, before we start exploring this further, you know, Nicole, I want you to go back to the moment in time, back to the roots. Close your eyes, please, for a minute.
Okay.
Before you slayed your corporate world, your entrepreneurial world, before you became a mom, a wife, before life took over, I want you to go back to when in your thoughts you were pure and in your dreams. Whatever that is, you know, it could be one word, it could be a mission, it could be just anything. To me, that is where your passion lies.
Yes.
And that's where you end up doing and sharing with the world what you were meant to be. And it was, you know, before you really knew it, and you're here now.
I know exactly what that word is. It's connection.
Yes. So, Nicole, can you just share a little bit, you know, because you stepped into your, what I think was your purpose
Yes.
when you started rooting around.
Oh yeah. You mean stay wild, child?
Well, stay well, but even before that, there was a journey for you, right?
Sure. Yeah, it was definitely an uncovering, and it was, you know, letting go of stories that I told myself of who I needed to be and what I was supposed to be doing to, you know, and then I did a lot of healing along this journey of unworthiness and, you know, it's always a practice. It's always an awareness. But it was I love championing, and I never have such a heck of a time saying it, but I love the word. I love inspiring women to remember who they are, right? To own their gifts and own their power. So similar to what you're talking about. But I love that, and I think it all wraps into a full health and wellness bubble, right? It's the it's the mind and heart connection, as you're talking about, but it's the true encouragement of women, and that's where it is now, right? It may include men at some point, but yeah, I know that's what I'm here to do, and it's the connection that we create, because I feel like there can be some separation and kind of trying to pit women against each other, right, through judgments. And so I love just that true open heart connection. So
Mhm. And Nicole, I know that it was a journey, right?
yeah.
You started. We talked about the meditation, but you know, everything kind of fell in place, and it was a growth experience for you.
Oh, absolutely.
You haven't stopped growing.
No.
You're still growing.
Yes.
You know, and it's multi-dimensional.
Absolutely.
What does that mean to you? What does a multi-dimensional mean to you?
Multi-dimensional. Um, well, that it can shift in many different directions,
Mm-hmm.
the path,
Mm-hmm.
and with a continual, um, for me, I love the growth, and I love the expansion, and I love the awareness. I love digging in and, seeing how things work, and getting more out of my head and into my heart. And that gives me the freedom to be able to speak authentically. And so with vulnerability. And so I think that for me, I think multidimensional would be that, well, mine's a spiritual connection for sure, but then also I have the opportunity um, to not judge where the path is going, but allow it to unfold, as long as I'm stepping into my passion, as you described, on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, you know, and to me, you know, when I think about you, and I think about you stepping into, for me, it's more, for you, it's more, sorry, for me, yours is more a purpose. You know, yours is, you know, it's a passionate purpose.
Right?
It's your mission. It's like the awakening of the third eye for you. And
Correct, correct.
all about, you know, because we've had many conversations where you, and again, I'm just going to paraphrase this, because when I think about you, I think about this journey. You know, you started down the path of yoga, and then into meditation, and then, you know, and so you're serving the women that are looking for the growth in their lives
Yes.
through many dimensions. You know, and it's and it's all connected. You know, it's all connected through that third eye, and it's all connected through the purpose. It's, you know, about letting go of the self judgment. It's about letting go about the stories, and, you know, it's stepping into a place of peace, and it's, you know, of safety, and knowing that at the end, or not at the end, but as they continue to step, it's going to become clearer and clearer, because
Yes.
that is the other thing that's very important, is clarity.
Yes.
What does stepping into your passion bring? It brings
Right.
clarity, you know, and clarity only comes with time.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I also strongly suggest is that, you know, as you're writing in your journal, take a daily dose of passion action.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, do something that feeds that passion,
Right. Right.
or mission, or that vision, and fuels it. Every single day, do something to cultivate it.
Yes.
That's the work. You know, when we think about the sacrifices, you know, that second part of the definition, you know, the sacrifices that Jesus made. I equate that to the work that needs to be done to untap, to continue to grow, because it doesn't mean that you find it and that's it. You
Right.
have to continue to grow it. You have to continue to bring clarity to it. You know, of the last 6 years, it has been a lot about the wine and lifestyle experience. But the last year, for me, it's been this journey about helping others uncork their passion. And what does that mean? You know, what happens when people get to that level? Because I do think it is elevating yourself. I do
Yes.
think you're stepping into that higher being that all of us are meant to be. All
Right.
of us are meant to operate at that level or that space. And, you know, you just need to step into it, because life and doing everything needs to be about taking that step to the biggest challenge of your life and,
Yes.
you know, uncorking your passion. Because when we think about it, life does happen, you know, be it whether you step into playing the corporate world, or, you know, as we talked about, you know, being a mom and a wife, and, you know, your family, and, you know, being a breadwinner, doing all those things in life that you need to sustain life. You know, we always say to ourselves, there's got to be more. Well, yes,
Right.
there is more, right? You
There is.
got that question. There is more, and we need to step into that more. So that is what I say is uncorking your passion. And it's
Absolutely,
the
Rashmi.
time to do it right now.
You know, I'll tell you that I always had that hard work achiever mindset, right? That's just kind of my natural um, drivenness, Virgo-ness. And, you know, and so and at times, you know, so I would get to a place where it would so consume me that I wasn't good for anyone in my life. And so when I did start working on myself, the meditation, the yoga, which just continued to open doors to more things about really that heart mind connection, then I realized even though you do have to put in the action, right? The work, it steers into a more flowful type direction versus it feels like it's this weight that you're carrying around, right? And so I've loved I've let go of that hard work, right? And really, it's more about that the connection, and it it allows things to open up in a more natural way. But you really decide, like, right, like exactly what you're saying, what's important to you, and what are you passionate about. So I love the idea of the passion journal, and it is something, TJ Maxx is open, and I'm going to go get one. It's my favorite place to buy journals. So and so yeah, so I love the idea of really, you know, creating that space in the evening. I know that a lot of times, you know, I'll just, you know, kind of shut the lights out, and you know, I don't prepare myself for my dream time. And oh, I mean, so much happens during that dream time, you know, and so why not cultivate that space so that, you know, you're visioning all through the evening. I love it. That's 8 hours for most, you know, 6 to 8 hours for a lot of people. So
It really is. And, you know, and when you think about it, you know, because my parents would tell me before, if I had a big test the next day, they'd say, oh, you know, go through all your questions and everything before you go to bed, because then it's going to go through your brain. And, you know, when I started on this whole journey about finding my passion, because I didn't understand it. When people would say step into it. I'm like, what is it? What is my passion? What, you know? So one day I just said, okay, let me see if I can figure it out in my dreams, and so not even with any intention, now it's like, oh my gosh, it's so many years later, because it took a long time for me to find it. It took me, and I'm talking about 15 years ago that I was on this journey to uncork my passion. And it took me a long time before I got there. And there are many other little passions that came along the way, our little shoe biz, different things. But this is what I was meant to do in my passion. So, and this
Absolutely.
is
And
what
I
you
love your
were meant
passion.
to do.
I love sharing your passion with other people. And it was beautiful Mother's Day gifts. Everyone was very appreciative. It's actually going to be a birthday gift as well this evening. I get to see a friend we're going to do a little social distancing get together. And so I get to share from Boisset for a birthday. So that's always a beautiful thing. And I love watching you on your adventures with in the wineries. They look so amazing. And then did you win an award just this last year, or was it the year before?
So yes, so last year I won the Spirit of Leadership Award,
Yeah, what
and
a great title, Spirit of Leadership. It's a good
yeah,
title, isn't it? Spirit of Leadership.
Spirit of Leadership, and it was amazing. Um, yes, and and I do love everything that Jean Charles has created for us, and he's an amazing dreamer. I think of him as a dreamer. Yes, and a lot of things in his life have come because he's allowed himself to dream. And he shared about the passion economy, and the way he puts it is that he's never worked the traditional work a day in his life because he has just allowed passion to flow through him.
Mm.
And
So incredible to find that at a young age, right? It took me a while. It took me a while to get there, right? But I feel the same way. I feel like I don't have to do the traditional work anymore, and it's a gift. And that's absolutely it. Whatever women or men find that drives them. That's my hope. Like step into that, right? Step into the best person that you can be. It's there. It just takes some uncovering and some unlearning. So,
yes, absolutely. You're so right. You're so right. I love
well,
this. Love our talk.
I know I love you. Thank you for joining me on Stay Wild, Child. And of course, we'll be on YouTube so you can share it with Jean Charles. He was awesome to me. I loved meeting him. So there's this beautiful alchemy book, Alchemy of the Senses book, and I was able to attend the party. And I have one of his books, and he did this beautiful artistic doodling, and yeah, it's just he's really a special guy. He makes everybody feel very listened to. Very he makes everybody like his time with you is his time with you, and he's a very busy man. So I like someone who can make you feel that special, when you're talking to him. So
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nicole, because I loved watching the journey, not only watching, but being part of the journey you
Been part
have
of a lot
been on. Yes, and where your passion and your purpose is leading you. And I've said this many times, you know, you are going to turn this world upside down by just bringing to the women that, and perhaps even the men, you know, enlightenment.
yeah.
And it is so needed. It's I know you tapped into your wild, the stay wild child, and you tapped into it. And it kind of, when Krista shared that story with me, I was thinking about you right then and there. I'm like, there is something to be said about going back to your roots, you know, and at what point in time was joy, that pure, um, unbiased, no judgment, joy. And how wonderful that you're creating that not only for yourself, but for everyone and their lives that you touch. So I love you, and please stay
Love you,
on.
Rob. All right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back again next week.
Oh, we're just right on time.